creative exercise number 2. So this is the negative space smudge. I've got the print off from my workbook here in front of me. My goal here, my absolute outcome, this is what I'm looking for, not the outcome from the painting, but the actual goal of the exercise is to see beauty emerge from mess and imperfection. So I'm going to do my very best to do things that I've never tried before. So I don't know if it's going to create a mess, and try to let that mess become beautiful to me. So the exercise says, color your paper with a color field or random scribbles. For me, I think I'm going to try the random scribbles with the soft pastel. And then you're going to use your finger or cloth and smudge parts away to create shapes. Add detail only if it feels natural. So what I want to do is I'm just going to find a simple floral reference that I can look at while I do this. But what I'm going to try to avoid at all costs is the details to get going. And I'm just going to get loose, have fun, play with it, and then follow the directions, smudge it, and try to see what I can find beautiful out of it. Okay, here we go. So here I'm just trying to lay down some color pigment and play around with my scribbles like I talked about, doing some pigments of green and pink and just kind of laying out the main composition of this in big bulky ways. And then I was trying different things, trying to erase the soft pastel, but like I said, I didn't really know exactly what was going to happen because I never really tried this technique before. So it was very interesting to me how some of the pigment was just kind of blending with the kneaded eraser and some of it was coming up. Probably depended on my surface, but I just kept kind of adding and subtracting. Nothing major was happening until I got to the magic of it. Here's where I decided to get risky and take a watercolor paintbrush. So this is like a Japanese paintbrush, and started adding water to this to see what would happen if I got it wet and got the pigment really saturated with water. What would happen when I tried to bring it up with the napkin? And this is where it got really interesting. I went ahead and laid down quite a bit more pigment, and I wanted enough to play with the water some more. And then I added just a couple of touches of watercolor. Since I had it sitting there from yesterday, I could just grab it in the moment. I guess I didn't really think about it all that much. I just kind of like grabbed it and did it. I don't think that's against the rules, so I thought it was a ton of fun. And really, the first part of subtracting or putting the water on it and subtracting out of it was cool. But this is where it got super interesting. Can you guys see what's happening here? Like this stain that's coming through from all this texture and stuff. This is the coolest discovery I think I could have made from this exercise. Super, super cool. And so this gives me a ton of inspiration to explore further. And that's what this is all about, right? So cool. That exercise was absolutely amazing, and I'm going to tell you why. And the biggest thing that I figured out is when I took the risk of messing it up by adding the water and then subtracting out of it with the sponge and the water, I got the coolest effects, totally unpredictable. Never had done that before, and it gave me a very big payoff in the end. So doing it in the moment, I noticed it, but combining it with that reflection and really like integrating that into my mind, I think is what's going to give me personally the biggest step forward. So here's what I ended up with. I really enjoy the way that it worked out. And of course, it's not perfectly rendered. This is not meant to be a beautiful finish, but I am happy with a lot of the effects that I got from playing with the water and trying to subtract out of it by just following these curious explorations. And if I hadn't have done that, if I had have kept control of this painting the whole time and just continued to copy, which is what I'm trying to get away from, if I would have continued to copy and just place values and colors and just kept adding on top, on top, on top, I would have never figured that out. So I'm super happy with this outcome. I absolutely love a lot of the imperfections on it. And I love that when I reflected, I realized I don't have to stay tight. I don't have to stay in control. In fact, when I let go of that, I get the most beautiful outcome. And that's a big realization for me to hit home on. So I'm absolutely loving this one.